Hey gang, it's Sean from the Commander's Brew. You know us, we're that show where we brew wild decks, have a lot of laughs while we do so, and this week's no different. We got a new commander from the Adventures in the Forgotten Realms commander decks, and that's Wulfgar of Icewind Dale.
All right, here we go. It is Wulfgar of Icewind Dale. This is a brand new commander from the new precons, the AFR precons. Of course, last week with Mike here, we took a look at Prosper, the Tomebound from the Rakdos deck. This one is out of the Gruul deck, right? It's just a green-red deck. Yes,
Just a green-red.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at this. This looks. This was also the commander that jumped out at me when I was looking at like the legendaries from the set. So I'm excited that we went with this one. This one's cool.
So this is Wulfgar of Icewind Dale. Let's just read the card itself. Mm-hmm. This is 3 red-green legendary creature, human barbarian. You get a 4/4 with melee or melee.
Melee.
Whenever this creature attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each opponent you attack this combat. So in a multiplayer game, if you can attack a few people at once, Wulfgar gets +2/+2, maybe +3/+3. And then here's the key. This is what's worth brewing around. If a creature you control attacking would cause a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, not just creatures, any permanent, that ability triggers an additional time. So right off the bat, if Wulfgar attacks one opponent, you get a double melee trigger. Not sure how to say it. I like melee.
I think it's melee.
I'm gonna go melee.
Yeah, it's melee.
You get a double melee trigger. So Wulfgar attacks as a 6/6 on one opponent, attacks as an 8/8 if you're attacking 2 opponents, or attacks as a 10/10 if you've got little dorks attacking other opponents. Wulfgar, like any human barbarian, hits hard. This is a very well-designed card.
So wait, Wulfgar's ability triggers, like melee triggers, and then it triggers again.
Yes.
And then, but if you have another creature attacking, that's 2 instances of melee triggering?
Well,
or is it...
So Wulfgar doesn't give anyone else melee.
Right, no.
But if you've got 2 creatures, like you need at least 3 creatures to attack 3 different opponents.
Right. Of course.
And if you are attacking 3 different opponents, Wulfgar will get +3/+3 twice.
Oh, I see. Yes, of course. Okay, great. All right. Yeah. I just was confused about how many triggers, but it's not that. It's getting the +3 twice. Right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, good. I hope there was someone else out there who was also a bit confused. Otherwise, I'll feel dumb. But that's why we picked this guy, because this ability is like... Also, I was like, wait, 10? That sounds way too big. But that's why this card is so cool, right? Because it seems ridiculous.
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah.
And this is an ability I don't know if we've seen before. Like, we have ways to duplicate triggered abilities, but this is just attack triggers automatically doubled. And at first I was like, well, I know there's a lot of like, this creature can't block in red, and a lot of like, do 1 damage, or creature gets +2/+2 in green. I was like, we gotta find better ones. And oh boy, there are some better ones out there for sure.
I can imagine.
So stay tuned for Lost Cards. If you're watching this on YouTube, watch Lost Cards when it comes out, because we'll go through a few other versions that we came up with. But what we're doing today is, it's obviously all about the combat step. That's Wulfgar's whole thing. And our major theme is creatures that attack and create token creatures that are tapped and attacking, or maybe not, while we attack. So we're going to get double the tokens from those attack triggers. And then we're going to do what you do when you go wide. You pump them up sometimes. You make so your opponents can't block, and you just do a ton of damage out of nowhere. That's the Wulfgar way. That's a very Gruul kind of deck. So let's set the scene, shall we?
Yes,
We're
let's.
attacking with a ton of mana dorks. We're attacking with a ton of creatures. It's an attacking deck. So obviously our major mana accelerants, our ramp is going to be from mana dorks, like your Llanowar elves. They tap for green, or Joraga Tree Speaker. It's another single mana elf. But this one has the level up. I do love this one. So you play it on 1 for green. And then on turn 2, you can level it up for 1 and a green. And now it is a level 1, which means it taps for green. So you get paid back right away for that 2 mana. So you didn't really ramp that turn technically, but all the turns after that, this is a 2 mana dork, which I think is great. And then we're going to run something like Nest Invader. This is a 1 and a green Eldrazi drone. It's a 2/2, but it comes in with a 0/1 Eldrazi spawn, and we can sack that spawn for a mana. Or if we're in the business for an extra mana, this is an accelerant as well. It's a bit of ramp if we need to sneak out Wulfgar 1 turn earlier.
Right on. So no, this isn't an attack trigger or anything, though. Okay.
No. We haven't covered any attack triggers yet.
Sorry, I thought that this one was the one that when you attack, you get them, but that's a different one.
No, that's Rada, right? Rada's the one. There was a Rada that whenever you attack, you get mana.
Oh no, I was thinking of the one that makes scions or something. I thought there might be one.
Oh,
anyways,
I don't know of one that gives you signs on attack.
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah.
Okay. What else do we have here? Okay, so if you want a bunch of, if you got a bunch of creatures out, the next best thing to do would be to get a bunch of lands because those creatures are all tapped. Speaking of such a thing, Harvest Season. This is a card I keep meaning to put in decks like this, and I just keep forgetting to or something. Like I keep running across it in my binder, and I'm like, man, this card looks really good, and I do believe it
does have a low floor.
Yeah, the floor is finding it on the ground, not knowing what magic is, picking it up and saying, hey, what this? Why on the back it have a brown old looking writing on it? What is a deck master?
And they forgot to draw the face on the front.
And why there's the pips, they don't have a symbol in them, just the color. And then on the other side, you see this nice art with cool text on it. But anyways, Harvest Season. It's 2 to green. It's a sorcery. It's a search your library for up to X basic land cards, where X is the number of tapped creatures you control, and put those cards onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. This could be like, what's it called? Bountiful? What is it called? What's the one where you just go get the same number of basic lands you have? Like,
oh, you double your lands?
Yeah, that card.
I don't remember.
That card, anyway, that card costs like 7 mana. This costs 3. And even if you did it when you have 2 tokens out or something, you know what I mean? That's better.
It's better than Cultivate.
Better than Cultivate, exactly. So while the floor is obviously just stone nothing, and you can't play this without creatures that are not only on the battlefield, but they are tapped. So that's something, right? Like that is setup cost. That is fairly significant setup cost, but the ceiling gets super high.
Well, and I want to remind you, like the whole deck's theme is creating double tokens on attack that are tapped and attacking. So like we're making a couple of goblins which turn into 4 goblins, or we're making 6 goblins, or we're making 10 wolves. And if your opponents eat a few of them in combat, I've still got like 3 or 4 tapped, ready to go, turn to 3 or 4 mana for just a simple 2 and a green. I like it.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's definitely worth it in this type of deck. And of course, this one is just an absolute green staple for me, no matter what type of deck we're running. If it has creatures in it, that's about the floor of this card. Shamanic Revelation, 3 green for a sorcery that says draw a card for each creature you control, and it has ferocious. So you gain 4 life for each creature you control with power 4 or greater. That is just, to me, that's just flavor text. Like if I'm in a token build such as this, I'm just running this for the great card draws. 5 mana is a lot, but you often draw like 8-9 cards off of this, you know? And even if you did draw something like 4 or 5, that's still really good. We're in red here, right? And then there will be the times where you do this, you draw 4 or 5 cards, and then you gain like 8-12 life. Like that's very good. We'll take that.
It can be a lot of life gain.
It definitely makes up for that tempo hit of spending the 5 to draw, you gaining back like 8 to 12 life or something like that. I love it. I put
like
this.
this better than
I think I
Harmonize.
actually put this in every green deck. I'm not kidding. I bought a bunch of them.
Yeah, I like it better than Harmonize. It costs one more, but like the potential to you can get so much more for that 1 mana. I think it's worth it.
The life gain also is, I think, significant, right? Like again, this isn't this deck. We might not even ever hit it, but the fact that it's there, it's possible. I think it is a nice boost to this card.
Let's file that life gain in the back of our brains for the next section somewhere, which is known as the Hamid moves.
Working on a
Neat. We're just going to take a second to handle a little bit of business. And the main point is, thanks for watching. If you want to see more of our comedic takes and offbeat decks, consider subscribing to our channel and hitting that bell to make sure you don't miss anything. And if you're loving our stuff and want to support further, the best way is to head over to patreon.com/commandersbrew. Find out how our generous patrons keep our show growing and how you can get in on the brewing action too through our Discord. Or, if you'd rather, just hang out and play some games with like-minded Commander players. Now, let's get back to those neat moves.
Oh, it was nice to hear the first neat moves back. It was a real good one. You took a real long time with it. I like it a lot.
Yes. Okay, neat moves. Obviously, it's a super neat move to give our creatures haste. That's kind of the top priority. And you Commander players know you can spend $1,000 on cards that give haste in green and red. Like there's some very expensive cards, but there's a few cheap ones. We're talking Rhythm of the Wild, 1 red-green enchantment. Creature spells you control can't be countered. Keep forgetting about that clause. That's not nothing.
It's not nothing.
Non-token creatures you control have riot, so we can either give them haste when they come in, or we can give them +1/+1 counter if for some reason we don't need to attack or we don't want to attack with them. And like I said, a lot of those tokens that we're making do enter tapped and attacking, so they don't need haste anyway. They can't get the +1/+1, unfortunately, but I'll still take the, like, this is still a great card to run.
This is a rare example of when Rhythm of the Wild is actually still good in a token deck, right? Like, usually this is the card that's not good in the token decks, but right now, since they're going to come in tapped and attacking a lot of the time, kind of don't care about that.
I mean, and it also turns our mana dorks into like free, basically, like net zero. Like I can pay a single green to put down a Llanowar Elf if I draw it late, but then I can give it haste and just and tap it right away if I want the mana. So that works nicely too. And then of course the cousin of Rhythm of the Wild, it's not quite as nice. Fires of Yavimaya, 1 red-green enchantment. Creatures you control have haste, and you can sack it to give a creature +2/+2 until end of turn, which might come into play. That is an ability we might use. It's hard to give it up, but I mean, if it means a win, I'll do it.
Totally.
And then of course, Anger is a nice, fairly budget. Oh, it's actually quite budget now because of the new precons. It's 50 cents again. 3 and a red for a hasty 2/2 incarnation. And if it's in your graveyard and you control a mountain, creatures you control have haste. So there's 3 pretty cheap ways, about a gumball a piece, maybe 2, that actually, Rhythm of the Wild is that's almost $5 now.
Wow,
It's getting good.
Holy,
yeah.
I mean, it's a very good card.
Yeah. So that's that. Okay, so now we want haste because Wulfgar can attack right away, but it's especially for the people who come down after Wulfgar. That's the most important. We want our opponents to never know what's gonna come down the pipe.
Right. Well, speaking of down the pipe, here's a few things that are going to be coming down it. We have Kessig Cage Breakers. 4 and a green for the 3/4 human rogue. Whenever it attacks, you create a 2/2 green wolf creature token that's tapped and attacking for each creature card in your graveyard. Which will be doubled by Wulfgar. Will be doubled, so even if you have the 1, you're still getting 2, having a laugh at that. And then we've got Handweir Garrison, 2 and a red for a 2/3 human soldier. Whenever it attacks, put 2 1/1 red human creature tokens on the battlefield tapped and attacking. This has some extra text because it melds with Handweir Battlements, which
we are running.
Yeah, okay. So it's nice to have that then.
Yeah, the Handweir Battlements is a land that can give creatures haste.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And if you're able to meld it, it becomes...
I can only see the bottom of it.
I know, it's weird how Scryfall does it, but it becomes a legendary Eldrazi Ooze with Trample and Haste. It's a 7/4, and whenever this thing attacks, you get 2 3/2 Colorless Horrors tapped and attacking, or with Wulfgar, 4 of them.
So that's still relevant if you get to do the meld. That would be really fun.
Yeah.
So that's a fun little achievement unlocked right there.
Yeah.
And we also have Goblin Tap Runner, 3 and a red for the 4/2 Goblin. Whenever it attacks, you flip 3 coins, and for each flip you win, you make a 1/1 red Goblin creature token that's tapped and attacking. So this will double your coin flips, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you'll get 6 coin flips and see how many goblins you can get out of it. I mean, hopefully all 6. Odds are low on that though.
And then there's one more token maker, Andy. I want you. This is the MVP token generator of the deck.
Yeah, I just put this in my Essex deck because it has a really cool effect on that. Nacatl War Pride. It's 3 and 3 green, so 6 total for a 3/3. It says Nacatl War Pride must be blocked by exactly 1 creature if able. And whenever it attacks, you create X tokens that are copies of Nacatl War Pride and that are tapped and attacking, where X is the number of creatures defending player controls. Exile the tokens at the beginning of the next end step. So we swing, we get a bunch of other Nacatl War Prides. They all must be blocked by exactly 1 creature, if able. And so some of them will probably die, and some of them will just get through because maybe they don't have enough stuff, and definitely because
it makes 1 per creature they have.
Yeah, and what it means is if we're going to double that with our boy, then some are going to get blocked and some aren't. So you're actually going to get some of these cats through.
Yeah, you're gonna get, and and just to like make sure it's clear, this is sort of a fog. Like all of their available blockers have to block one of these Nacatl War Prides, which means everything else you have gets through automatically.
That's right.
Because everyone else is too busy.
It's like a lure. You're right.
It's like a lure.
I never even think of the other things that are attacking with Nacatl War Pride because I'm always just so happy to just attack with it. And I'm like, aha, now I've got a bunch of these cat creature things. I'm not even thinking about the other stuff attacking, but you're totally right.
So if you've got a Wulfgar attacking as a 6/6, and maybe you've got a few of these creatures attacking someone else, we're going to stack our triggers so that we get these extra creatures before Wulfgar's melee trigger goes off. So we're gonna make sure that when you create tokens that are tapped and attacking, you get to say where they're going. Mm-hmm. So we can use them to go to other opponents who have maybe boards that we can't safely attack into. Maybe, and it's probably a lot. There's probably a lot of if you're making this many War Prides doubled, plus Wulfgar and maybe anything else you have going, there's a very good chance this swing will kill somebody. Because the extra War Prides are 3 apiece. Wulfgar is probably coming in as 8 or 10, and I'm sure we've got other things. This deck is explosive. Especially because of cards like Signal Pest. This is a single mana artifact creature, and it has Battle Cry. So whenever this attacks, all your other attacking creatures get +1/+0, or with Wulfgar, +2/+0, because you get double Battle Cry. Signal Pest itself can't be blocked except by creatures with flying or reach. That's fine. Everything gets +2/+0, and we're going to stack the triggers, obviously, so all of the new creatures appear, the new tapped and attacking wolves or goblins, then Battle Cry goes on, so then all those wolves and goblins get +2/+0. Maybe we've got Hero of Oxid Ridge, 2 red, Human Knight, 4/2 with haste and Battle Cry.
Nice.
And when this one attacks, creatures with power 1 or less can't even block this turn.
Oh, wow.
So, opposing tokens, if they're tiny, you can't chump them.
I was going to say,
right there,
we've definitely talked about this before, but Signal Pest is not a bird creature. It's a little guy holding up his weird claw and shooting.
Yes.
Out of his claw. So take a look at that if you're watching the YouTube. Anyways, I won't dwell on it again because we certainly have talked about this before. Every time I'm like, what's going on there?
Yeah, I always thought it was like a crow, like a robotic crow.
That's going, and then I was like, wait, does it have another head that's biting that piece of grass? Anyways, but yeah,
this next
that's a Signal Pest
combination
counts as a Sean Taber's favorite. I think you.
Yeah,
That's a pet card for sure. That is
It's so cheap.
That has achieved the rank of pet card.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Signal pet.
It's a nice one to have. A little cute little guy.
Okay, imagine Wulfgar plus this next card, Andy. This is just work this one out.
Okay.
Let us know how this one goes.
Okay, well, I love it when we get to do this to each other, where it's like I know what this does. Let's see what you think when you first read it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Blossoming Bog Beast is 4 and a green. I seem to remember this card. It's a 3/3. Whenever it attacks, you gain 2 life. Then creatures you control gain trample and get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the amount of life you gained this turn. So with our boy Wulfgar, we double the attacking triggers up. So we gain 4 life, and then creatures get +4/+4 and trample.
Almost. You're short a few because the triggers resolve separately.
Okay.
So first we gain 2 life and everybody gets +2/+2.
Oh, so it all happens twice.
Then we gain 2 more life and creatures get +4/+4 because now we've gained 4 life.
Oh, so we're actually getting +6?
+6/+6. And Wulfgar gets double melee. So minimum, if you're attacking one opponent, Wulfgar is 6 plus the 6 from this. Wulfgar is attacking as a 12/12 trample with this creature alone.
Wow.
If they're both going to the same opponent. If you're going to different opponents, Wulfgar gets absolutely massive.
My British co-host.
And so this is why I wanted us to remember Shamanic Revelation. We don't have a ton of huge cards.
Forget about it
but
with Shamanic Revelation.
Yeah, if we've gained like 16 life from that prior, Wulfgar's already a 4/4. A lot of our stuff's tiny, but they can get big because of other effects. This just becomes like it's more than Crater Hoof at that point.
That's a dream world possibility playing out there, and even the opposite works pretty well, right? Like even if you just do the attack with Bog Beast, get your 3 or 4 creatures pumped up, do a big attack, and then play Shamanic Revelations to gain a bunch of life after the fact, that's still not bad.
That's still not bad.
Right?
Yeah, that's not bad.
That.
I would take that too.
Nice. Yeah, I like that combo. This guy's from the Willow Dusk deck, I think.
Yeah.
That's where he came from. Yeah.
So we talked about managing your triggers with Battle Cry 2. So here's another instance where we want to do that. So let's take a look at Fireflux Squad. 3 in a red, human soldier, 4/3 with haste. Built-in haste. I love it. Whenever Fireflux Squad attacks, you may exile another target attacking creature you control. If you do, reveal cards from the top until you reveal a creature card. Put that card onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Now, we're going to create the goblins or wolves or whatever tapped and attacking first. Oh, no, right. Here's what I remember this. Okay, so when Fireflux Squad attacks, here's the key. We can't actually target the tokens that are created because we need to name a target as we declare it as an attacker. And those tokens haven't appeared yet. Okay. So we need a token from a previous attack or something like that. However, where it gets interesting is we have something like Explorer Scope. Explorer Scope is a 1-mana artifact that equips for 1, and whenever equipped creature attacks, look at the top of your library, and if it's a land, put it into the battlefield tapped. Wulfgar lets us do this twice because this is a permanent that has an attack trigger. So if we have Fireflux Squad on our team and the Explorer's Scope, doesn't matter where it's equipped, you're going to want to stack the triggers staggered. Right. You're going to want to be like, I would like to do 1 Explorer's Scope, then 1 Fire Fist Squad, then 1 more Explorer's Scope, and then my last Fireflux Squad. Because if you don't see a land on top, cool, let's change it. Let's have Fireflux Squad do something else. So now we have a second look at the top of the library for a new possible land card.
So you reveal from the top until you reveal a creature card.
Yeah. So Fireflux Squad will always hit a creature.
Yeah, it'll always hit. Okay.
That creature will have missed the attack trigger so you don't get the extra attack trigger from that one, but it's still great to turn a goblin into something more potent.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely.
And if stuff's dying, again, Cage Breakers don't mind that. Cage Breakers loves a full graveyard.
Yeah, that's the thing. Attacking and trading off some of these creatures is actually going to really pay off when you draw those Cage Breakers. Another great card, I ran this in one of my very first EDH decks, is Mage Slayer. 1 red, green. It's an equipment that says whenever equipped creature attacks, it deals damage equal to its power to to the player or planeswalker it's attacking. So it has been oracled to include planeswalkers there. That's great. We're going to get that twice. Mage Slayer is like, do not underestimate this card, especially if you're in a really like a big smashy deck. It's going to obviously have like added bonus because you're attacking with huge. But don't forget, like we've been talking about Wulfgar and all of these adding, like so many of these cards add to the power that he has, throwing it on your commander and then making this guy like 12/12, like with the blossoming Bog Beast. Like it's not commander damage when it hits, but it's still an additional 12 damage. It's pretty wild.
Times 2 because double triggers, so an additional 24 damage.
Right. That's right. Exactly.
Yeah, this card's great in this deck. This card's great.
Just makes sense.
Another great card in the deck is Morag, Fury of Akum. We haven't touched on this aspect of the deck yet, but of course, extra combat steps are wonderful when you have double triggers. Right. So Morag is the 4 red legendary Minotaur warrior, 6/6. All your creatures get +1/+0 for each time they've attacked this turn, and it has landfall whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control. If it's your main phase, so Explorer's Scope won't help, Sword of the Animist won't help. It has to be your main phase. You get an extra combat step, an extra combat phase, and at the beginning of that combat, you untap all your creatures. So the best way to take advantage of it is to play that land after combat, and then boom, another combat.
Right on. Yeah.
And then after that, and after your, and so you've done another combat. Now we have another main. So wait, okay, now I'm confused. So I'm in my second main.
Uh-huh.
And then I play a land, I get another combat phase. When I come out of that combat phase, does it go right to end step, or do I get a third main phase?
It doesn't say you get another main phase.
Right. So I just get an additional combat and then presumably go straight to end step.
I think you're done after that.
Okay, so we can't use our harvest season to play more lands.
I was going to say, like, Morag could, but you could.
Well, I mean, I could just play this harvest season on my second main, put down 9 lands and get 9 additional combat steps.
Like you still get them. It's just that the burn with Morag is if you do it before your main attack step, you don't get the untapping from your regular combat step, right? Like,
right.
That's why you don't do the landfall thing on the first main with him. You'd always do it on the second because you attack first, get everything tapped. The untap trigger then does something, whereas it's like you don't get to untap normally. So yeah, you would just do that in your second main. You don't need the other main phase.
Yeah.
What else we have here? This is a card. This card used to be a lot of money. Shared Animosity. How much is it right now? I can't see it.
225.
What a laugh. 2 to red for an enchantment. This is whenever a creature you control attacks, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each other attacking creature that shares a creature type with it. So this is very similar to I'm holding a flag. I'm carrying it into battle. Coat of Arms.
Coat of Arms.
It's very similar to Coat of Arms, which we used recently in our deck with Rachel here. But obviously this has to be attacking. The great thing about this, we're not running a tribal deck here where this is like obviously optimized, but a lot of these guys are make 4, goblins, or make 2 or 4 humans or something. It like just that bonus from just those 2 or 3 or 4 alone. That's enough. That's all you need. Shared Animosity is a crazy card.
Yeah.
So good. There's a reason that this used to be like $20, I think.
Are you? Yeah, maybe. I want to make sure you're not confusing because my brain thinks this is very close to the one that generates mana.
It is, yeah, it is very close. But I remember trying to run Shared Animosity in old decks, and just you couldn't.
Okay.
I'll double check while you read the next one.
And I just want to remind you that Shared Animosity triggers twice, so each creature gets +2/+0 for when they share types. And then Curse of Predation is kind of the same thing. It's like Team Pump. It's 2 and a green, enchant a player. It's a curse. Whenever a creature attacks enchanted player, put a +1/+1 counter on it. And when we attack that player, we get 2 +1/+1 counters because that triggers twice. All the curses will trigger twice when we when we attack to trigger them with Wulfgar, which makes them great.
I didn't show that card while you were reading it, but Curse of Predation, there it is. Sorry, I was looking this up. I am right, because this was printed, not Curse of Predation. Curse of Predation is awesome, by the way. I do think it is a very good card. Really good for Commander, and really good in Cube. I remember having a really good time with this card in Cube. Shared Animosity was printed in Morningtide, and for a while that was the only printing of it. And back around the hot summer of 2017, this card was a $20 card, over $20. Yeah. So nice. There you go. And then for a long time, it hovered in the $6 to $9 range. So the fact that it got reprinted in Commander 2020, now we're way down. Yeah, great. Okay, that's awesome. I love when you just like discover it. It's kind of like discovering a new card all over again, because it used to just be out of my mind completely.
Yes.
You know.
I mean, for every one of those, there's another one that's like, that's $20 now.
I know, that's true. That's true. That's the other side of it, where you're just like, oh man, come on, this card isn't even that good. We also have in this deck Warchief Giant, because Myriad is going to also double up with our boy Wulfgar. So Warchief Giant is the red Myriad card. There was a cycle during one of the Commander decks. This one's 3 red for a Giant Warrior. It's a 5/3 with haste, and it has Myriad. And of course that means whenever this creature attacks, for each opponent other than the defending player, you can create a token that's a copy of this creature, tapped and attacking. Basically just has some of that like same ability that we're talking about here, but this just straight up copies this guy. And they each have to attack a new guy. So that's really cool. So we're going to get 2 of each attacking the 3 other players. So actually the guy, the person you're attacking with the regular Warchief Giant is the lucky one.
Yes, they get off easy.
Yeah. So that's great. Yeah, and Myriad, I mean, there's the green Myriad creature is really good too. It's huge. It's like I think it's like a Hydra or something.
Yeah, I left that. I didn't go with that one just for mana cost. It was a bit on the pricey side.
It is heavy. It is heavy. You need to ramp a lot into that one.
And just a couple more mentions here. Just like when we're attacking with a big batch, like I feel we have to mention Hellrider, 2 red haste, 3/3 devil. Whenever a creature you control attacks, it deals 1 damage to the player or planeswalker it's attacking. That becomes 2 damage now because of Wulfgar.
Look out.
And then Tectonic Giant, 2 red, similar deal, 3/4 for an elemental giant. When it attacks or becomes the target of a spell an opponent controls, you can either do 3 damage to each opponent, that becomes 6, or you can exile the top 2 cards of your library, choose one, and until end of turn, you may play that card. You can double trigger either of those if you want. Well, if you're attacking. If your opponent's target it, Wulfgar will not double that. Oh, and I'll use this opportunity to mention a rules thing that we worked out while we were brewing. Someone like Magda, who creates a treasure when she taps, that is not an attack trigger. So the question is, but what if I attack with her? She's tapping for that reason. Does that qualify? Is that then an attack trigger? Because it is because of attacking. By the rules, that is not an attack trigger. It has to say when this attacks. It can't just tap as part of it. So just in case you're like, what about Magda? It's like, nah, no Magda.
Sorry, Tectonic Giant only. Thank you.
But I mean, we got Lannery Storm in here, so we're making 2 treasures on attacks. That's fine.
Tectonic Giant also, maybe a quick rules thing here is that you have to choose one of the things and then you get to double that. You don't get to go 1-1, right?
No, I think because you copy the trigger, you're not copying the effect. So the trigger, it triggers twice. It triggers once, okay. And part of the trigger is choosing one.
Yeah, okay, because usually you are copying the effect. for things like this. That's why I was like, yeah, that's how that works. But yeah, you're right. You're getting it to trigger an additional time, which would, yeah, I guess that would, yeah, you're not copying it at all. Okay, that's good then. That's even better. Perfect.
Yeah.
There it is.
Well, I mean, yeah, like these two, like this deck does massive damage in short order, out of nowhere. It's what a Gruul deck should do. And I want to thank some of the Discord helpers who helped out. It's great. Bruin again. It's good to be back. Groove Chicken, Chiefy, Liliana's Janitor, Seth, Doomfrog, Gee Pizza, Uncle Dirtnap, Micah, Eternity's Craffer, Papa Dio, Chaddington 2, Knackle Balra Garden, Avatar of Hope, Nosrak 2, Neo Maxis, Bunk Steak, and Nickel Doodle. Thank you. If I missed you, I'll get you next time. It goes fast and furious. You know that.
It feels like there's a few new names in there, which I always find fun.
Yeah.
Even if it's just people changing their names to something else, which happens occasionally, that's fine too. But even because like I didn't actually brew with Discord for the Mike episode because Mike already had this deck ready to go.
Yeah.
So I didn't get in there. So it's nice. I feel like I'm returning now with as well because I actually haven't like chatted with the gang for a little bit too. So nice little return there. Well, we've done the Discord helper thank yous, so I do believe that means it's time for the budget report. All right, where do we land with this Wulfgar of Icewind Dale deck?
Sure. So like TCG has the low at $58. And like the market, I'm never sure what the market versus the median means, but the market is just over $100, $106 for the market. You can get a lot of things cheaper. There's a few cards here that are the most expensive. Combat Celebrant is the most expensive card in the deck right now. It's $9.
Yeah.
That's the 2 in a red human warrior that can exert. And if it exerts, you get an extra combat step. And obviously that's amazing in this deck. And it only costs 3 to get down. This thing comes down first. Wulfgar comes down later. And there you go. You're getting all kinds of attack triggers. It's no surprise there. Beastmaster Ascension. Whenever a creature you control attacks, you put a quest counter on it, or you put 2 if Wulfgar's already out. And when it has 7 counters, all your creatures get +5/+5. This is now $8.50.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, like it's just so good.
Like it's funny because like I guess it sort of makes sense. Like this card is an anthem, but it's a very big anthem. Because the way but like I feel like we didn't realize it was that good. I mean, maybe it's just my story. I didn't know like once I learned how to use anthems like kind of better, right? Like you drop them and then attack. Like I just always was like, yeah, I just always put them down whenever you can play them kind of thing. But like the ideal way to do it is drop them, attack, Beastmaster Ascension. If you have the 7 creatures and you just get it right away, right? You're not building up for this one. So if you do that routinely, this is just a +5/+5 anthem, which is incredible. But
with Wulfgar, that's just 4 creatures.
I feel like that's wild. Did it like I feel like it either spiked with Wulfgar or like I feel like this card used to be 50 cents. You know what I mean? Like I feel like this is one that I absolutely would have never thought was almost $10.
And it's been printed a ton. Like Commander Zendikar, 2014, 2015, 2016, Commander Anthology, Mystery Booster, or Secret Packs.
That's wild. I have to look this up. I'm going to right now.
While you do, I'll mention the third most expensive card, which is Sword of the Animist. It just came in the Forgotten Realms Commander deck, which brought the price down from like $10-15. Now it's down to $7. It'll probably go back up, but this is the 2 mana equipment. Equips for 2. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, and whenever equipped creature attacks, you tutor up a basic, put it into play tapped, and need I say it again? With Wulfgar, you're putting 2 lands into play that way. So this is especially supercharged with Wulfgar. So I think out of those, this is the one I'm most likely to want to keep.
Sorry, what did you say? How much did you say this one is down to?
$657.
Right. Yeah.
It was just released with one of the new Commander precons, but it'll get back up to 10, no doubt.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm looking at some things here that was like this card used to be around 12, 13, so it's kind of halved in price. So if you feel like, if you feel like getting one of these, now's, I think, probably the best time to strike.
Yeah.
To strike there for sure. It seems as though Beastmaster Ascension spiked around April of this year, which coincides with, I don't know what.
We didn't know about
Strixhaven?
Wulfgar then.
Like, what? I know, right? Strange.
I don't know.
Anyways, yeah. But Sword of the Animus, grab it for, I guess, $7 because it's probably just going to jump right back up to 12, 13 in a sec. There are some cards we did not run in this deck because of their very high price that, if you got them, include them. Blade of Selves, I think, is the first card I thought of when we started talking about Myriad, because it's the equipment that gives everything Myriad. 2 mana, equips for 4. Yeah, equipped creature has Myriad.
Now you have to, I put that in because obviously Blade of Selves is awesome with double triggers, but most of our deck is creatures that benefit when they're attacking. So Blade of Selves doesn't really give us extra triggers beyond just more beef on the table attacking.
Right.
You would want this. I mean, it is a little bit of a non-bow because it would ask you to put in creatures that have ETB effects to take advantage of. But this deck doesn't have a lot of those. And most creatures with ETB effects don't have attack triggers. That's very rare to see the overlap.
Yeah, because you're getting your value from somewhere, right? It's like getting it from both is a lot. And there are, I'm sure there's a couple, like the Titans all have enter ETBs and attack triggers, and like
the green one's illegal, but
exactly, we can't even run the green one. So
the red one, Inferno Titan, would be pretty amazing with a blade. But you won't get the attack triggers.
That's true. You don't get those attack triggers. Okay, well, at any rate, you
get the ETBs though. You get to create the one Inferno Titan of the person you're attacking +2/+2, so you get 2, 4, 5 extra chances to throw 3 damage somewhere.
Inferno Titan, just put it in the deck.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. There you go.
Inferno Titan goes in this deck, no problemo.
No problemo. But Blade of Selves at $20 ish. If you have it, like we said, it's going to be a nice include. Marton Stromgald, 2 red for a 1/1 human knight. There's a lot of text here. Whenever it attacks, other attacking creatures get +1/+1 until end of turn for each attacking creature, other than it's like there's an accent on the A. Marton Stromgald. Whenever it blocks, other blocking creatures get +1/+1. So it has this weird, like, almost like flanking pseudo, like, anthem thing going on. It's an older card, and it is $15. Honestly, I wouldn't run it just because it's too complicated. Forget it.
Fair.
Give me something with Battle Cry. And then Colonian Hydra, right? This is a good one.
Yeah, Colonian Hydra, like, by itself. 3 green, 0/0 trample, but it enters with 4 +1/+1 counters, and whenever it attacks, you double the +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. We don't have a ton of those, but the Hydra by itself, double trigger, it becomes an 8/8, and then right away a 16/16 on its first attack with Wulfgar. And if you get a second combat phase, it doubles again and again. So it becomes a 64.
64 trample. Pretty strong.
Yeah.
Right on. Well,
yeah, that's a $15 card for good reason.
Yeah.
But if you got one, throw it in.
If you got them, play them. Well, that's it. That's Wulfgar Icewind. I like seeing this very Gruul-feeling deck, obviously. Gruul-feeling commander. With this... It's like, how has this ability not already been created? I love it. I love it when Magic does this, when it's like, hey, Panharmonicon, but it's only on attack triggers. Like, great.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
And thank you, Wizards. Wizards thanks for not making this creature mono red or mono green.
Because it's true. You know what? It would feel very like, yeah, I want to add green to this or add white to this.
Yes.
Or thanks for not making it Boros.
Yeah.
Because it also kind of feels like it would be a very Boros ability, very Boros creature.
Yeah.
I like a Boros deck. Don't get me wrong, but I we gotta throw Gruul bone here too. Gruul loves bones.
They love bones. You know how many bones are accessories for Gruul characters?
They wear them around their necks, through their ears, and their faces and stuff. It's great.
Yeah. They love bones.
They love bones. Gruul, #Gruul loves bones. I would love for that to catch on.
Yeah.
At your next Magic night. That would be huge.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, this deck was fun. It's been fun having you back on the show, back for another 300 episodes at least.
At least I got to break my record.
Yeah. This is day one of a new stretch. Like, start ticking it back up. It has been one day since Sean Tavares was not on an episode of Commander's Brew. I love it. Okay, everyone. Well, we will be back here next week with a brand new deck tech. And of course, if you're watching this in like real time when it's released, on the Tuesday it comes out. On the Thursday, we're having Lost Cards. So check out the Lost Cards. It'll be some more cards and like angles on this deck that we didn't take here in this episode. Check it out. But until then, we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you love what we're doing, consider supporting the show by going to patreon.com/commandersbrew.
And if you want to get any of the cards from our deck list, go to our TCG Player affiliate link below.
That helps us out too. And for a free way to help us out, consider sharing the show with some friends. Like and subscribe, add a comment or two.
See you later.
Bye.